Hey, what's up? Peace and abundance always. Peter Abundant here, aka Dr. Abundant, your minister of metaphysical science, also holding a PhD in metaphysical science. So today, we're going to deep dive into the Bible. We're going to start from the beginning. Now, disclaimer. If you are somebody who identifies as being really religious and you are Christian, you are highly sensitive about your religion, what I want you to do is have an open mind, because my intention here is to not discredit, not to make fun of your religion, but to actually help you to go deeper into the sacred knowledge that is hidden within the Bible. Okay. Now, this is not a Christian religious study. Okay. This isn't a Christian religion. I'm not by any means a scholar or anything like that in the Bible, but as a metaphysician, which is somebody who goes beyond the physical, my job and my talent, my passion is to see the hidden meaning behind things. And so as somebody who was once religion, identified once as, being Christian, it is important that I go deep into this knowledge, because the Bible, no matter what you believe about it, there is a reason why this book has lasted as long as it has and is as impactful as it is. And my belief is that subconsciously, unconsciously, even on a super conscious level, we can resonate with the wisdom that is within this. The problem is we're not often taught this inner wisdom. And so my intention here is to share with you the wisdom that I discover as I study this book, as I look through this book once again, from not a religious point of view, but a metaphysical point of view, a spiritual point of view. So this isn't about taking what my pastor or reverend back in the day has told me that the Bible means or what it means, but to actually take my own insight, information, intuition, knowledge, and almost 30 years of studying religion and spirituality and metaphysics to actually come to a place of a deeper connection with this book. So my intention is to share that with you, to help you, if you are somebody who is Christian, to go deep within Christianity to gain the individual spiritual knowledge hidden in it. If you are not religious and if you have a disdain for religion, particularly Christianity, I still invite you to take this journey with me, because it is going to expand your consciousness, your mind, to actually see and understand why this book has been around for so long. All right. And what you can actually gain from it, whether you are Christian or not. Okay. So we're going to get into it. We're going to start with the first book, Genesis. And we're going to go simply from Genesis chapter 1 from starting from verse 1 all the way to verse 5. We're only going to cover 5 verses. Now, it may seem like that's not a lot, right? Only 5. Let me tell you, the depth of wisdom that are in these texts, right? These verses are very important. Now, throughout the course of this series, this complete series, we're going to cover a little bit more. We're going to really cover the creation story, okay? And what people believe is how God created the earth, okay? And the 7 days it took and what actually was created. Now, what I've discovered and what has been inspired upon me to understand is that this is not about God creating the earth. What this is truly about is about you learning how to manifest things, to materialize things, to tap into the creator within you. Okay. Now, just be patient with me. All right. As we take this journey, but trust me when I say you are definitely going to get something out of it. So let's get started. All right. Let's get started. So we will start with Genesis. Now, Genesis actually means beginning. The irony is, remember that I mentioned this creation story has more to do with you than it has to do with God. It has more to do with your ability to create than it has to do with God. Now, when I say God, what I'm talking about is that external idea of God, the external conception of there is an entity above and beyond us that is looking down at us and judging us and bestowing things upon us, telling us what to do, telling us what not to do, and therefore, all that other stuff, right? Now, from a metaphysical standpoint, everything is a reflection of ourselves. So we look at even the idea of God being a representation of self. Now, that is not to say that you are the creator of all things, but you are a creator. And in that understanding of being a creator, you can definitely see the correlations and the connection between yourself and that of the creator. You are an extension of the creator. You are one with the creator. You are not separate from the creator. And as we go through this journey, trust me, I will help you to discover and see this throughout the Bible and how this actually manifests, right? For lack of a better term. But ultimately, this journey here is about you. It's not about God. And I'm going to give you a few points on how to understand that and where to recognize that. All right. So first thing is first, we're going to start with Genesis, top of the very, very first sentence, the history of creation. Now, when we look at words, the first thing we see is but then the next thing we see is history, his story of creation. Now, his can be identified as what often people understand to be God, right? That above all entity that watches over us. But in actuality, it is man. Okay. Now, disclaimer, this is definitely my interpretation through studying, through observation, through, again, 30 years of practicing and really getting into religion as well as spirituality and metaphysics. So this is what I've come to understand, as well as studying people like Neville Goddard and Reverend Ike. Check those out. So his story of creation. We're talking about you as man, as woman. Okay. So let's get started. So verse 1, in the beginning, God created heavens and the earth. God is recognized here as consciousness. Some people identify God as a frequency, God as an intelligence. I call it grand consciousness because there isn't really a separation. There's just simply degrees of you, right? There are different levels of you, different minds, right? Different perspectives, different points of view, different realities that come into play into the combination of all of who you are. In other words, your conscious mind, subconscious mind, unconscious, right? Your ego, your consciousness, your superconscious, right? Which goes really, really high, which even directly ties into grand consciousness, which is that is everything. That divine intelligence that is and culminates and permeates and surrounds all that is. So when we say God, we're talking about you. We're talking about your consciousness, the purest essence of who you are, right? We're talking about your true self. Okay. Now, this again is indicative of your ability to create. So what we're doing when we go through this creation story, we are basically laying down the blueprint of how you, as a creator, creates your reality, creates and materializes the things that you desire, creates your fulfillment, your wholeness, all the things that you desire and possibly can desire. This lays out the blueprint of how to do that. The irony is, if you study manifestation, a popular statement is to think or be already at the end, right? Think with the end in mind. In other words, when it comes to visualization, when it comes to affirmations, you want to already be in the place, in the state of mind, in the experience of already having that thing that you want to materialize before it, quote unquote, actually materializes. The same thing I find interesting about the Bible here. It is literally starting out with the end in mind. Literally is starting out with giving you the blueprint of how to create the reality that you desire by simply laying down this 7-step process, right? The 7, days, right? Basically 7 days of creation represents 7 steps of manifestation. So when you get down deep into it, I mean, it's amazing. So I am discovering this almost as I am sharing it with you. Okay. So there are going to be some things that I missed that I'm going to discover later on as I go back, but let's go through this because it's still a lot. All right. So in the beginning, God, your consciousness, created the heavens and the earth. What are the heavens and the earth? The heavens is all that you desire, your desires, infinite desires. When we think about heaven, we think about everything that we desire being in heaven, don't we? We think about milk and honey. I don't know why somebody would want milk and honey, but we think about all this beauty, all this perfection, right? And that's something that's obviously subjective. We cannot define a place that we will all want to go because some of us really don't want to be where others are going, right? We want to be in our own space, our own sense of heaven. And that's what we're talking about. Creating your own sense of heaven, the desires that you want, that is, right? That is your heaven. So in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. So your desires were created by consciousness. The earth is the actual physical manifestation of that which you desire. Okay. It is basically the process of going from point A to point B. You see, your God, your consciousness, you created the heavens, your desires, and the earth, the materialization of the things. You already have those things. You already have some things that you have materialized over the period of time that you've been here in this world, in this reality. Okay. So moving forward, the earth was without form, and void and darkness was on the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters. So this is talking about the things creating those things, like forming, right? Setting an intention to desire something, and then it becoming from the formless to actual form. Okay. Then we're going to go into, let me see. The waters. The waters represents a little bit of like essence of water represents life, right? So water represents movement as well. Everything that is alive needs water. So you have to understand it in context of you're starting to formulate and give life to the thing that you desire. And this is why it's talking about your spirit, right, of your consciousness over the face of the waters. So the waters are representative of you bringing life to things because now you are at a space where you are hovering over this state of creation from something that had no form and thus giving it form. Okay. And then God said, let there be light, right? So light represents intelligence, but it also represents the spark of creation. So light represents a spark. So you have things like water, and then you have light. That is encompassing of who we are as human beings. We are water and we are light. It can be called electricity. Okay. But it is something that is a part of the duality of who we are. We are water. We are, coming into form. And so we're projecting that out into our creation. All right. As creators. Okay. So let there be light. And there was light. Okay. So we said, let there be light. Again, speaking, let there be light. Notice that the speech is in the affirming, in the present moment, right? Let there be light. And there was light. So it is about having a thought, okay? Because light represents intelligence. So you have to have a desire. You're thinking through that desire, right? You're thinking through the desire of creating your heaven, right? Heavens is desire. And then you are saying, let there be light. So in other words, light represents the intelligence to create that desire. Strategy, coming into an understanding of, okay, what do you have or what can you do to actually begin the process of creating that thing? Then, this is very important, and God saw the light and it was good. So your consciousness recognizes the intelligence, recognizes the spark of creation, and then is satisfied, happy, appreciative of that. Meaning, you have to be aware that you have the abilities to create that which you desire, right? You have that light, you have that intelligence. And thus, when you recognize, yes, you have the intelligence, you speak it into existence, what it is that you desire, right? And then you start to see and formulate a plan to actually get it going. So you have to understand that the light, right, that intelligence, you have to appreciate what you have. You have to appreciate that intelligence. Now, you're going to see the term, you're going to see the term, and it was good plenty of times along this creation story. Why is that? Because it represents gratitude. It represents the ability to look at where you are at each step of the process of materialization, of creation, and then recognizing, being happy, being proud, right? Honoring, being appreciative of your own ability, recognizing that what you are doing is good. What you have done is good. Your capabilities, your skills are good, right? They are more than enough. We often live in a world where we don't feel like we're good enough. Now we're saying we are enough. You're way more than enough. Okay. So understand that. All right. And God saw the light and it was good. Okay. And God divided the light from the darkness. So essentially, light means intelligence. Darkness means the unknown. Okay. You can say ignorance, but it is simply the unknown. It's not stupid. It's just simply the unknown. So when you are along this path of beginning to think about and process what it is that you want, right? Because this first step is really about clarity. It's about gaining clarity as to what you desire. Then you have to acknowledge that creative force within you. You have to appreciate that. And then you have to divide the intelligence you have from what you don't know, right? So you have to say, okay, this is what I want to create, right? I want to create this kind of business, or I want to create this lifestyle where I travel around the world and not have to worry about finances. Okay, let's separate the light from the darkness. The light means, what do you have? What skills do you have? What knowledge do you have right now to get you started? Okay, remember, get you started. And then the darkness is simply acknowledging that there are things you don't know. There is the unknown. And now all you have to do is start with what you know, the intelligence that you have, and continue moving forward. And guess what happens? The unknown becomes known because you are starting the process. Okay. All right. Now let's go to the next. All right. So verse 5, God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. All right. That just really gets into recognizing the difference between the intelligence that you have and what you don't have. Okay. Now, understand as well, these words, definitions, they may change depending on where we are in the book, depending on the story. I believe it is relative to the story that we are speaking of. Okay. So that might be a good reference point to keep in mind that day and night may represent intelligence and the unknown. Okay. So that is more of like a foresight. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. So evening and morning were the first day. Now, this part, the very end, evening and morning were the first day. I had to take some time and sit and think about that one because I was like, why is this sticking out to me? Why are we saying evening first and morning were the first day? Usually we think in terms of morning, then evening is the first day. So why is it saying evening and morning is the first day? After doing some research, I learned that even in Judaism, they refer to it the same way, where it's like, well, all fairness, Genesis, the book of Genesis is part of the Jewish Torah. Okay. Moses, Jewish, Jesus, Jewish. So there's going to be a lot of cross sections and references about that. But ultimately, it's not unheard of to refer to a day from evening to morning. But again, this is a metaphysical Bible study. So I had to look at it from a metaphysical standpoint. And remember, we're talking about creation, creating things. Now, when you think about the evening to morning, what are we doing from evening to morning? We are sleeping. Okay. Now, what are we accessing when we are asleep? We are accessing our subconscious minds. Guess what? The most powerful tool that you have for creation is the subconscious mind. So ultimately, it's telling us that when you go to sleep, this is the time that you can program your subconscious mind and tune yourself for manifestation, for creation. This is the first step. Okay. So it's important that, yes, okay, in the very beginning, before God said, let there be light, there was darkness. And so darkness did come first. And then God said, let there be light. Your consciousness had an idea, acknowledged your intelligence to create and manifest this idea. Okay. But even in terms of the process of creation, and if you're into manifestation, I'm sure you know, going into your subconscious mind, programming your subconscious mind is by far one of the most important things you got to do. When you go to sleep, that's when you are in your subconscious mind. This is why you have all the crazy dreams that seem random and don't make sense. It's because your subconscious mind is a storehouse of everything that you've ever experienced. And so all of those things are jumbled around. Unless you're practicing lucid dreaming, it really just doesn't make sense. It's all over the place. But these are basically the experiences, the ideas, the concepts that you have accepted, that you have experienced, that you believe in. And in order for you to begin creating the thing that you desire, you have to go inside your subconscious and change any belief systems that don't align with what you desire. Okay. And put in practical, belief systems that actually align with your materialization, with your manifestation. All right. So that was me going over, reading it just off out of the book right here. But I'm going to go to my notes because there were some things that I really want to point out. And I'm going to review this all over again. And it was good. So let there be light represents the spark of creation. conscious thought. Okay. Your consciousness is having a thought. This is the moment you bring an idea out of formless, right, potential into awareness. All right. The division of light from darkness symbolizes distinguishing clarity from confusion and doubt. So you can see how so many layers, right? How light can be referred to as intelligence. Darkness can be referred to as the unknown. Light can obviously be referred to exposing, right? Seeing things with clarity. Again, that is an intelligence because you see something, you can identify, you recognize what it is. When it is darkness, it is unknown. Also represents the unmanifested, the darkness. Okay. Um, let's see. Let's see. So the important thing to get out of this is that each day represents a step for you in your understanding or your desire to be the creator that you naturally are. You have to recognize the importance of your own power, seeing your own power. All right. All right. So the evening and morning were the first day. Darkness came first, then light. Okay. This ties directly to the subconscious mind, how it absorbs and integrates, right, new ideas, making evening to morning the most powerful time for embedding manifestation. In the in the spiritual and the metaphysical traditions, nighttime is the domain of the subconscious, the receptive, fertile ground where seeds of thought take root. The evening is when the conscious mind begins to quiet, making it easier to impress ideas upon the subconscious. Just as the earth receives seeds in the darkness of soil, your subconscious receives intentions and visions in the darkness of night. All right. So many layers here. So let's get into. Okay. So this is what I referred to when I was talking about the references of other religions. Let's see. Yeah. Judaism measures days from evening to morning. Okay. Very interesting. I never knew that until I did some real research. All cycles, all creation follows this cycle. First conceived in darkness, then revealed in light. Very, very, very interesting. All right. So it's important to recognize here, this information is amazing insight. So this is day one. This is the first day, gaining clarity over what you desire. And when you get into the fact that we've been reading this Bible, we've been taught the knowledge and wisdom from this Bible, it's okay to admit that it's been at a very superficial level and it's been very literal. And that is a problem many people have with the Bible, is that it doesn't make sense, literally speaking. But when you get into the fact that these are stories and allegories and metaphors, then it makes more sense than ever. So what I want you to do is continue to join me on this journey as we go down and really break down and understand what is happening, what is being taught to us to gain access to our own power. Because I'm grateful that I'm at a point in my life where I can read this book and understand what it is that it's saying, rather than regurgitating the same words, taking one verse out of it, and then putting my own twist on it, my own, and that's fine, because that's what we all do, right? We all see things from our own point of view. But it's very important to look to break out of the box, to break out of the structure of what was once, because the point of our lives as beings who live in this human body and share this world is to pass down information. And when you pass down information, the information should evolve. And so, with our understandings of finding deeper meanings in things and finding and understanding more things, even when it comes to science, it doesn't just stop with a single discovery. They go deeper into understanding that discovery, understanding that law, so they can understand how to use it to benefit themselves and all of mankind. So even when we think about books like this, that's been around for thousands of years, we need to recognize that there is knowledge here that we potentially are not exploring or exposing to its highest potential. Okay, so that's all today. We're going to capture day 2 tomorrow, in the next video, I should say. And that is going to continue to take us down, take us into this path of truly recognizing who we are as creators of our own reality. Thank you for joining me. If you have questions and comments, which I'm sure you probably do, please leave them in the comment section below. All right. Feel free to go to drabundant.com, subscribe to my daily newsletter, and get access to a free ebook called The Power Within, and so much more. Thank you so much. Continue to join me on this journey. Peace and abundance always.